Hello, class. My name is Michael, and the article I chose was Afghanistan Visualizing the Impact of 20 Years of War. What is the main point of this story? The main point of this story is to illustrate how the war affected Afghanistan physically and economically, also to show the role the U.S. played in the war. Who is the target audience? The target audience will be mainly the people of Afghanistan since that's where the war was held. But in addition to the people of Afghanistan, the people of the other countries involved in the war, and also people that study wars. Why is it important? The story is important because people deserve to know how the war impacted Afghanistan. Also, the Afghanistan war was one of the biggest wars in the 21st century, and Afghan people are still recovering from the war, as it just ended in 2021. What are the data presented in the story? There were various data charts presented in the story that highlights deaths due to the war, U.S. involvement in the war, and the status of Afghanistan after the war. The chart on the right represents the lives lost in the war, as well as the certain demographic those lives belong to. The Afghanistan war has directly claimed 241,000 lives, and hundreds of thousands more have died due to hunger, disease, and injury caused by the devastating war. And down below are those different demographics split into categories, and they also included some pictures next to the demographics. So for example, next to the US and NATO allies, which have had 3,586 lives lost, they have two soldiers standing there, which look like they have on book bags and holding guns. To go along with them, civilians have had 71,344 lives lost. National military and police have had 78,314 lives lost. Opposition fighters have had 84,191 lives lost. And down below in the small font, there have been 136 journalists and media workers who have lost their life, 549 humanitarian aid workers who have lost their life, 3,936 U.S. contractors gone, and 6 U.S. DoD civilians gone. More data. So the chart on the right shows a comparison of the quality of life in Afghanistan in the early 2000s versus the late 2010s. So just to highlight a few categories, the life expectancy in 2001 was 56 years versus 64 years in 2019. So that improved about 8 years. The poverty rate in 2007 was 33.7% versus 54.5% in 2016, so that went on a decline. And human rights scores, which ranges from negative 3.8 to 5.4. In 2001, it was negative 2.51, and in 2017, it stayed about the same, which was negative 2.31. So overall, some categories improved, some did not improve, and some stayed about the same. All right, so here's some more data. This chart on the right shows how much money the U.S. spent on the war, and the war has costed the U.S. $2.26 trillion, and it will continue to pay for the war even after it leaves. And down below, it just breaks it down into categories. The Defense Department war budget was $933 billion. Estimated interest on war borrowing, $530 billion. Additions to Defense Department budget, $443 billion. Veterans medical and disability care, $296 billion. And lastly, State Department war budget, $59 billion. Where did the data presented in the story come from? The data came from various sources which provided information and data about the war. Some of these sources include World Bank by Our World in Data, as well as Cost of War Project at Brown University's Watson Institute of International and Public Affairs. Are the data sets available to the public? These data sets are available to the public and can be accessed by using the sources given in the data charts. How did the authors illustrate the data? The authors put forth a lot of effort in illustrating the data. They used a variety of images and colors when constructing their various charts. And this can be shown in this chart to the right. They have the different pictures of the presidents, and they also have it color-coded whether the president was Republican or Democrat, and they also included the NATO or allies of the US. So to wrap it up, here's some questions to think about. First off, do you think the headline Afghanistan visualizing the impact of 20 years of war best suits this article? And if not, what is another headline that could have been used? And the second question is, are there any other sources that could have been used to enhance the story? Thank you for watching.